Hello everybody, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to week 10 of organizational development. This is a major week because a significant portion of your grade will be based on your portfolio presentation. During this week, we have, as you can see here, we'll first off, of course, go through your learning objectives. The readings is just simply a review of perhaps your books as well as maybe your portfolio, just to refresh yourself on some of that information. The discussion questions as well is mainly reflection. It is really important that you take this very seriously so you remember this information after the course is over, to help basically take this information and keep it in your long-term memory. It's just so effective to be able to reflect consistently on the information, and that's going to be also part of this portfolio presentation project. So let's go ahead and why don't we review over that project in a little bit greater detail. If you haven't already done so, create your PowerPoint presentation. You should have already scheduled an appointment with your professor, and just make sure there's some key information in your presentation. Now, first off, let me show you, because you'll be using PowerPoint for the presentation. Here's an example. This is actually from a presentation I give. There's a reason I have so much detail here, but it's actually a good example of how too much detail is actually a bad thing. For my presentation, it was okay. It's a very specific reason, but typically you would never see me create a slide like this where it's just lots of words, no pictures, title, whatever. This, for the most part, this would be a slide that I would never create. So as I scroll down a bit further, let's look at some better examples. Now this is a little better. We got some bullet points over here, but still not really much appeal to that. Now let's go ahead and scroll down a bit further. Now we're getting better. This is what I personally consider more of like an ideal slide for a PowerPoint presentation, where we have a title, we have just bullet points that you're going to talk about, and then we also have on the bottom here the cited sources for the information that you use to support all of these main points. And let me give you one more example here. This would be another example of what I call perhaps like an ideal slide for a PowerPoint presentation. Very brief bullet points of what you will be talking about, including some citations where you got the information from, and some pictures to make it a little more visually appealing. That is one of the expectations of putting together your PowerPoint presentation. You can see over here the various slides that you need, including a title slide, an introduction to your presentation. You will have also a minimum of 9 slides, one for each week, so you can just give kind of a very brief overview of what you learned that week and so on. What we do not want is for you just to simply summarize a whole bunch of information. Tell us what you've learned. Tell us maybe what you synthesized and so on. I do have an example here to demonstrate what you want to discuss. And then the final part of the presentation will be an action plan. Now this can be on a company you're currently working at or a fictitious company. You can utilize information from the previous 2 weeks, weeks 8 and 9. And essentially what you should be discussing is, in this scenario, as I mentioned previously, you'll be talking to your professor, but you can sort of imagine that they're the CEO of the company who just put you through this training. And now you want to give an action plan on how you will address change and maybe some sort of transformation effort that the company wants to do. So you will present a plan. Do not worry too much about like giving a story, like the scenario, whatever. That's not what we want to discuss. What we want to get into is your plan of action, and for you to demonstrate that you're using evidence-based approaches based on what you've learned throughout the entire course to put together a plan that will help with the change effort. So you're going to want to have some details. And then finally, a conclusion slide. Once you are done with this project, once you have given the presentation, then here's one last key aspect of this is, again, consistent with what you should have learned throughout the class at various points. It's so important for organizations to get feedback from their employees and to discuss their performance and have employees provide feedback and go back and forth. That's more of an evidence-based approach to providing feedback and to developing employees. Well, we utilize that technique to a small degree within this assignment, because what you should then do is submit your PowerPoint presentation, and in the add comments area, so as an example, that would be like right down here. Once you submit it, go ahead and review the rubric. Right over here you can see where you can actually click on the rubric. You can see it right here, how you're going to be graded for this assignment, including the slides, professionalism, key concepts, and then the question and answer portion, which will occur throughout the presentation. So what you would do is take this and determine what score you believe you should get based on your performance in that presentation, and then go ahead and add those comments and that score in the add comments area. That doesn't mean that's the grade you will get, but the professor will take that into consideration, again, just like would occur if you were at a workplace that embraced that process of getting feedback not only from their employees, but also potentially even from others, and then also, of course, from the immediate supervisor. I believe you'll really like this activity. It can be a lot of fun. It can be a great opportunity for you to reflect on what you've learned in the class. Where it could be challenging is if you did not do the work throughout the course. And by this point, we'll assume that you have. And then so it'll be just a nice opportunity for you to engage with your professor and develop some of your presentation skills and develop your ability to discuss some of this information that you've learned. Final part of week 10, of course, is the continuous improvement survey. Please go ahead and complete that and let us know. Let us know about the project. Let us know about your interaction maybe with the instructor, how that went, what could be improved. We'd really value your feedback. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Dan, and I wish you a great day.